A civil war will happen when the civil war is the rational calculation for the players involved. And this is one of the horrible things we don't want to realize, but war is normally a completely rational calculation. It's, I can probabilistically assess that my side will beat your side and we can take your stuff. And I believe the 2024 election is going to set things off because for both sides, they've entered into a position of fundamental weakness where they have an incentive to start a war because it's safer rather than continuing with the peace, because peace is often more dangerous than war. And so for the right and the left, they've pushed their hands too far, and now they need to pull their hands back because they can't survive as things go on. For the right, it's the money printing and the immigration. And those are two things that people have no comprehension how big they are. For money printing, we've added $900 billion to the deficit just since July. And we don't understand how big $900 billion.
Debt, you mean?
Yeah. And that's bigger than a lot of countries in the world. I'm sure someone can look up in the comments and say that's the economy of, like, I don't know, some European country. And so that's the first thing. It took us all of American history to reach the amount of debt we had in 2014, and we've doubled it in the decades since. And the money printing under Biden, it can't go on. It's just killing the economy. And I don't believe the official numbers. I think they're being doctored. I think things are way worse. And so money printing's one. Another 4 years of Biden will destroy society. And then immigration. We've had 15 million illegal immigrants during the Biden administration. That's adding a Pennsylvania to the country. And it's a Pennsylvania overnight without the centuries it took to build up the state. And so 4 years Biden, 15 million more illegal immigrants. And Elon Musk has done a good job talking about this. I think I really admire Elon Musk's latest stand. And basically, if the Democrats can keep flooding illegals in, they can win a bunch of states if the illegals can vote. So
they don't need to vote.
What do you mean?
Illegal immigrants don't need to vote for Democrats to win control of win the electoral vote and win the presidency and the federal government. So this is actually a big mistake Republicans have made for a very long time in saying that the Democrats are bringing in illegal immigrants so they can vote and vote for Democrats. No, they're not. They're bringing in illegal immigrants so that the census will count them and give them more congressional seats and more electoral college votes. California is estimated to have, at minimum, in the last cycle, one extra vote.
Yeah.
However, if you actually calculate the total illegal immigrant population of California, they may have as many as 10 or 13 extra illegal votes. Let me clarify this. So if you have a district, a congressional district, which is 775,000 people, but 200,000 are non-citizens. They can't vote, but they do give that seat. You do the math.
Yeah.
Democrats can then invite in non-citizens, spread them out in such a way that they create extra congressional districts.
Yes.
Then when it comes to, so this is what's funny about the national popular vote and the national popular vote initiatives. It's not completely true. We saw Adam Kinzinger, everyone's roasting him because he said we should get rid of electoral college and go to a popular vote. But a popular vote may actually favor Republicans. California's got 10 million Republicans, many of whom are demoralized and feel like, I think they end up getting about 6 million votes or whatever. If it was a national popular vote, you may see blue state Republicans voting, and it could shift things in a way people don't predict. So right now, the numbers are that there are more blue state Republicans than there are red state Democrats. Red states tend to be sparsely populated. There's not that many Democrats in the red states relative to how many Republicans are in blue states. If you go national popular vote and those Republicans vote, combined with the rural states, it may turn this country deep red. But anyway, I digress. So when we look at the electoral college, you have to factor in that Democrats likely are getting 5 extra electoral college votes by having non-citizens spread out through their states, which is why Chicago is getting flooded. New York is getting flooded. California is getting flooded. It's a long game because the census is every 10 years. But you also have to consider at the federal the federal congressional level. This means that Democrats have extra members of Congress voting. So when you say, Rudyard, that civil war will start when it becomes the rational decision of either side, I would agree we're at a point where it is terrifying, but you may actually see people make that argument that has become rational for them to engage in some kind of, and people, I want to make sure I clarify this when I say civil war. It's not necessarily going to be it is not a standing army, ordering their troops to go march on another state. That's ridiculous. This is people who watch too many movies. It could literally just be a state suing another state at the Supreme Court saying invalidate those votes. because these are built upon non-citizens who are influencing our government. Then you get a federal law. Let's say a federal law passes, narrow margins. And then you get a few red states arguing that due to the inclusion of non-citizens in the congressional apportionment, Democrats, by winning by one vote in Congress to pass a law that, say, would encroach on gun rights or free speech rights, violating the Constitution, and then a Biden or Harris signs the bill, they say, no, we refuse to enforce this under this ruling. It goes to the Supreme Court, which, of course, is conservative. They rule in favor of the red state. The Democrats then say something like, you see, this is Trump's stacked court, and they're now overturning Congress and the president. We can't allow this. And you get two sides arguing that they are morally justified in their use of force to whatever degree that is. And then it could be starting very simply. Texas says, we will not abide by this national restriction or whatever. Texas, as we already saw with illegal immigration, then starts making moves to remove illegal immigration. Let's say the issue is illegal immigration. Texas was already in conflict with the federal government on the border, setting up razor wire and barring the feds from jurisdiction they claimed they had a right to. This is how things like this could start, where it's it's two cars speeding towards each other, and neither side has any means of resolving this. With a situation like Texas, which was scary, and this is only in the past year, Alaska is talking about sending down troops to aid the feds. Then you had a handful of states, even Florida, sending National Guard and State Guard to go defend Texas in Texas' assertion of a right over their border. You had the Supreme Court involved. When it comes to something like this, we are looking at dry tinder on the forest floor, and then you get CBP and federal agents demanding to be given access to the border they claim jurisdiction over, while the state is saying no, and we're laying razor wire, concertina wire, and then all it takes is one accident. Somebody not even flicking a cigarette, but a chain. This is actually a story that started one of the fires. A guy apparently had a chain hanging from the back of his pickup truck, and as he was dragging it, it was bouncing off the ground and sparking, and it lit tinder. There was no intention. So let's say something happens where it's late at night, it's 2 a.m, and the feds say, look, this is our jurisdiction. We're going to do a patrol. State Guard or National Guard are down there, and they see some guys walking, and they're wearing polos and khakis or something. They don't know that they're supposed to be there. They're not in direct communication. Something happens and a bang goes off. Maybe it's a Mexican army or a cartel member opens fire or something. These guys don't know what's happening, so they draw their weapons. Both sides see two groups drawing weapons on each other with guns going off. They take cover. Somebody shoots. It could perhaps even be a cartel member intentionally trying to spark conflict, but a National Guard member or a federal officer gets shot and killed. Then a guy who that's his best friend, who's been working with for 10 years, sees it happen and just starts opening fire. And this is where you get something nobody expects. It spirals out of control. Texas says federal agents opened fire on our guards, and the feds say they shot my friend. They were shooting at us. Does that resolve simply with everybody calm down? We don't want to go this route. Or is it an escalation of tensions where they say, the feds come in and say, we're going to start arresting National Guard, everyone involved. You turn their names over now. The state says, we will not turn over the name of our guardsmen who are legally authorized to use these weapons when you were shooting at us. The state then says, we demand the feds withdraw and you turn over the men who shot our guys. Both say no. Do they back away? We have no idea. Now, I would say that seems like a 1 in a million or a 1 in 100 million. Who knows? But you can imagine a scenario like that being dangerously close, when the only difference in that story that I just told and what literally happened is that the feds ultimately said, we're gonna back down. Everyone's going to chill out. But imagine if an accident occurred, the flicking of a cigarette, the sparking of a chain, that wildfire grows rapidly and you can't control. Thanks for watching this clip from the Culture War podcast. We're live every Friday, 10 a.m. to noon. So subscribe and come hang out.